My favorite handbook, as it were, for this process is Gandhi's autobiography. I mean, Gandhi was very clear about how you have to do this. I mean, my favorite example, there are many, of course, he comes to London at the end of the 19th century to read law as a barrister. And when he gets to London, he can't find any decent vegetarian food because he's a vegetarian. So he joins the Vegetarian Society, gets on the committee, and before he's finished his thing, there are a dozen vegetarian restaurants in London that weren't there before. Now that's what I call imagining, that you can make a meaningful difference you can imagine what it would be like, and sitting at home feeling miserable eating fish and chips. I mean, but the whole of Gandhi's philosophy is about the how you can build yourself up. I mean, there's another incredible story. In 1924, 25, something like that, there was a strike in Ahmedabad, which is a big industrial town in North India. And he went there and he just sat on the corner, on the sidewalk, and didn't do anything, didn't eat anything, just sat on the corner. And within 4 days, the whole strike was revolving around him and what he was going to do next. I mean, he had this ability to insert himself into such a situation, and somehow, society came down to his level, and he moved up to a level where he could change it. This isn't something you do by accident. You have to know why you're doing it and how to do it. So, I believe that one of the consequences of this digital revolution, which we have hardly explored yet, is that the terms under which each of us can engage with a large and impersonal society are changing all the time in favor of boosting our personality and our own effectiveness. I mean, only in the last few months, I love Twitter. I love it. I mean, I have followers, people who follow what I write. My tribe, if you like. And I have to learn to write like a sub-editor, people who do the headlines in newspapers, because you only have 140 spaces for your messages. So you have to think up the Communist Manifesto in 140 spaces. But it's very good for teaching you to compress and be concentrated in what you want to say and how. My feeling, my mentor is an old West Indian revolutionary called CLR James. And in his 80s, he lived in Brixton. People used to come to him, young agitators. And they would say, "Tell me, Maestro, what can I do to change the world?" And he would say, "Well, you find a friend and you make a newspaper of 2 pages, and you circulate it as much as you can, and perhaps in the process you'll find somebody else who's doing the same thing, and you can merge your newspapers and put out a 4-page thing, and that's how you get on." Now, his model of inserting oneself into he says the main thing is write about what you know. Write about what you know, and put yourself into a position where other people can find out what you think, on however small a scale, and open yourself up to the possibility of alliances and collaborations that would allow you to increase the scale of what you're doing. Now, that was very much based on what he did in the 1930s in London. But imagine if you had a similar notion today, what the possibilities are. I mean, it costs almost nothing to learn how to put up a blog. The possibilities of getting your word out are extraordinary. I have a website. I put everything that I write on it, even after I've signed pieces of paper that I can sign the copyright to somebody else. And I mean, every now and then, because I have Google Analytics, so I can check every day, you know, on the level of people hitting the site. One day in November, I had 3 times the normal hits in a day, you know. So I got into Google Analytics and found that they were all from Nigeria, and that, or most of them, and that somebody in Nigeria had found something I'd put up there 2 years ago and mentioned it in a blog, and now 300 Africans were reading it. And I mean, these are possibilities for getting the word out that are quite extraordinary.